Hey everybody, welcome back to Shutters Planing. I'm just sitting out here having my coffee before we jump in and start where we left off. So make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe for future videos as I continue this project and others in the future. Alright, got our electronics working. That's our skull, which we can change colors. Trying to reach my switch here. And there's our turn signals. Still have to wire the back, but if you look at the skull in the center, I'm pushing the button each time to change the color. So it's on and off. Now this is where it cycles through all the colors. It's flashy. It's really flashy. This is a slow cycle through the colors. Most of the time I'll just probably keep it on blue. Maybe, we'll see. Red again. Or green. So there you have it. We have our skulls going on. So, yay. That part is done. Check. Okay, so the fairing came in, so we got that installed. It's just, you know, like a windshield. Like, it's not a full fairing. And eventually, at some point when I have the money, I will get a full fairing. But this is what it looks like. See, it attaches just like a windshield does. So, there's that big gap there, which is kind of annoying, but I mean, I've seen worse. I feel like I need some fog lights on each side now to kind of fill that out so it doesn't look so weird. But in my opinion, it turned out better than it looked with the stupid tombstone windshield. So, but we'll play with it until we get it, you know, where I'm happy with it, at least for the temporary measure. Okay, so we got our pipes on. Because of this engine and this frame, the actual pipes, which I mean technically these are, would not fit properly. So we basically cut up, well, we cut the other side. This one was a slip-on, so we just kind of left it how it was. Had to remove my regulator from down there, and it's getting relocated to in here. I still got to plug it back in, and then this is the other side. It's kind of banged up a little bit, but I think once I get the heat shields on it, it won't be so bad. But this is a rat bike, keep that in mind. Like, I want it to look like a rat bike and punk, so I'm happy with it. It's gonna be loud as shit. So we will see how that goes, but we got all our wires cleaned up. Except, you know, I gotta play with this rat's nest so that I can get the regulator plugged in again. And then I've got, you know, like my for my turn signals in the rear. Let's see what else. Yeah, crash bars on. So, and yeah, so this pipe wraps underneath there. I do still need to run wires from my brakes, my brake lights, and I still need to prime and bleed the rear brake here, but we had to fix it first because it went to push down on that and it didn't move, so we had to That's what happens when it sits out in the rain for a year. But luckily now we have a garage, so hopefully that won't happen again. But, so there's where we're at. Dun, dun, dun. There it is. Why am I smoking? I understand the pipe because it's painted. But why is there smoke coming from here? Where the carbs are. Is this something I need to worry about? So I've started her a few times since and she didn't smoke, so I think it's alright. I think it just had a little bit of schmutz on the engine. We'll see as we go. I am at some point going to go ahead and order a carb rebuild kit, and because some of the suggestions that I've read say that the float might not be, it might be stuck, so it might be dribbling some fuel in after the engine's shut off, so the engine's hot, so then it's burning it, because it's happening after it's running. So we'll see how that goes moving forward, but that's something that we can deal with a little bit further down. I want to keep progressing on the build itself in the meantime, and so stay tuned. Okay, so here's the tank for Norman, and so right now what I need to do is take this all off and strip out the fuel pump that's inside, because it's a, what is it, a higher PSI, like it's gonna push too much. So since we're putting it on a carbureted engine, we're going to strip that and make it kind of basically gravity fed. So, I mean, there'll be some small portion here that's below where the fuel comes out that I will not be able to utilize in fuel, but honestly, that's better than Eden, because Eden's petcock's like up here. There's like 2 gallons of my 6-gallon tank on the Yamaha that I can't utilize. It just acts like it's out of fuel, even though there's fuel in there. So this actually won't be that bad. So I mean, we know that Norman runs and everything, so we're gonna strip all that out, and then I got a new fuel gauge that we can put in. Well, fuel, not gauge. I mean, yes, I do have a new gauge, but I mean the sensor inside, the little float. But I'll check this one out, and I'll just kind of like hold on to the other one. And if it's not working, then I'll switch them out. So this is our next step. We're going to take these bolts off here, and we're going to pull this off and pull the fuel pump out and remove the fuel pump so that fuel can come straight out of here. I need to cut this off too. So that it can come out. I'm not sure which one it comes out, but we will find out once the fuel pump is removed. Because I think one is to put fuel back in that isn't used or something. So we'll find out after we get the pump removed and everything, and then we'll see which one it's going to be. And I'll probably just plug one that it isn't, and then, you know, we'll hook the other one up. I need to cut this off though so that I can put another hose on there. But so that's where we're at. That's the next step. And we're also busy painting and stuff, and so just stay tuned. This is all coming together. We're basically kind of in the home stretch here because Norman is running. We got everything in place, so now we just got to put the pieces together. We got the bolts out, and then here is the fuel pump system. So believe it or not, is it actually, this part anyway, is new, because the last time we were working on Norman, the original, the OG Norman, we had to replace the pump because the other pump was bad, and now in the end we don't need it, so we're going to take all this crap off. Okay, so basically what's left here is pretty much welded on. That's not welded, but that screw is so old. But anyways, this pipe here, so the pump brought it from the filter, which is now over there, but was down here. It would suck the fuel through and then push it out through here. So essentially, since all of this is welded, I'm not as worried about that stuff, but I do need to cut this so that fuel can naturally drain and, you know, gravity do its job. So even if I can't get this off, I need to cut this, but I will, I think if I get some PB blaster, I can get that screw that's been there. But the rest of this is just kind of welded in place. There's no bolts for these parts, so I'm just gonna cut this and try to pull this whole section off, and then see if I can get that off, because I mean everything that you have in your tank takes up room. So I'm gonna do that and cut that, and then let gravity take over. Okay, so we actually managed to get all of it cut off, thanks to Wonder Bread. Asked to borrow his cutting wheel, and he's like, just give it to me, I got it. So he cut this all off for me. So that's our fuel port right there. That's where the fuel is going to drain down through there and go into the carbs. This was the return valve, so I got the old tube that was stuck on it off, and then found a handy dandy bolt in a new little section, and put the bolt in and then clamped it down. So just as a precaution, make sure I don't have no leaks or anything, because there is a little pinhole there. That's just where he accidentally cut it, but right there, like where fuel would come up in there to be returned in the old setup. So we got this taken care of, so now we're going to go ahead and bolt it back in place and move on to our next step. Okay, next on the tank, I need to get my heat gun, and we're just going to heat this up so that we can peel it off. I haven't decided whether I'm going to put these back on or not, mainly because these parts are more of a burgundy, because it's more, you know, American looking with the silver, red, and blue. But I do like the Vulcan badges, so I may see if I can just hand paint that or something. Like, I haven't decided, or I may just decide to put a stencil on each side of the tank. But this is the next part. We get this removed, and then we can clean it up and start sanding it down and getting it ready to be primed and painted. Okay, so I'm getting a completely different setup, so it's gonna have to have different holes. It may not, I don't know, we'll find out. But I went ahead and filled this in with some of this and let it sit overnight, and it is completely sandable. So today I got to get it sanded down, and we're also going to get our front tire repainted because it was painted with that other paint that was crappy. So this is what we're going to continue on and work on next. Okay, so I want to show this. Okay, so a lot of people, for little teeny imperfections, little scratches, stuff like that, after you sand it down, they use like a filler, a different kind of filler than for the bigger dents, okay, for like pinhole type stuff. I, however, use chalk paint that you can get from Walmart in the craft aisle, and I just use my finger. You can use paintbrush, but that way I can keep it smooth, so when I sand this off, the only thing that'll be left is the area that was indented or the scratch, and then it makes it smooth. This is still drying, so this is where I took the badges off, because I had to use like a metal grinder type thing to get all the stick off. So with this, you're going to want to sand straight with a block so that you're not putting the impressions in. And the same thing with this, but you're going to it's going to kind of make a ramp so that you don't feel all the jagged of where the grinder dug, got down to where the metal and there was no paint. A lot of people will sand everything off, including your pinstripes. I leave these on simply because it gives that profile, and it also helps with the measuring. Like if you're gonna put decals or in my case stencils, or even putting badges back on, it'll help kind of gauge the measurement of how you're gonna do things. So this is what it looks like now. I'll show you again after it's done, but let me show you the fender real quick. Okay, so here's the fender, and I've already sanded it back down. So this has filled in all the little divots and made it smooth. Like I can run my hand across and not feel any of that. Like, see how it's just a little bit of a crackle in there? Like, that's what it does. And it's the same thing that filler is gonna do, and it's like $3. And you got enough to do like a gazillion projects. Okay, so sanded it down, so I'm just trying to show y'all. So now it's like all smooth, so when I paint over it, you'll be able to see any divots, or at least that's the hope. So I'm gonna go over it. I've used some carb cleaner on it, but now I'm gonna go over it with some last little bit of cleaner and wipe it down real good, make sure everything's off of it, all the dust's off of it, and then we're going to prime it and get ready to get it all painted. Okay, so we're just gonna end this video short here. I know I was gonna show everything painted, but apparently I've gotten a lot worse at this. So I used to be really good at painting, especially when it came to bikes, but I'm just having, I don't know if it's the paint or if it's me, I have no idea, but I'm just having a hell of a time. So I'm gonna take a short break on this for about a week and focus on my house and then get back to it. But I'm going to use vinyl instead of paint like I did with Eden. So it just comes out a lot nicer, and I have faith because I just did it not too long ago with Eden for the very first time, that I can get this figured out. And it's only 3 pieces instead of 8 like Eden was, because I don't have, all the fairings and the boxes and all that crap. So, well, I have a fairing, you guys saw, but I'm gonna leave that black. So anyway, stay tuned, make sure you comment, like, subscribe so that you can see the next video, and we will continue this project until Norman is done. But I mean, hey, the good news is really truly the hardest part is over. Norman is running. So until next time.